Hi folks, Chris Schulte here with Friction Labs, and today we're going to talk about tick marks. Behind me here is, maybe I'm a little bit biased, one of the Tahoe area's greatest problems, and it's just immaculately clean today, so we've got a wonderful canvas to work with. Now, no doubt a number of you have walked through the boulders or, even been on some routes or what have you, and noticed a little dab here and there, a little line, or maybe a massive egregious marker that's 2.5 feet long or more. That's a tick mark. Maybe you've used them, maybe you've brushed them off. Thank you. I want to talk with you a little bit about a couple of different kinds that we use and a couple of different ways to use them. Number of different schools of thought on tick marks, and you're going to find different preferences according to different people that you climb with. Some people are going to tick for their index finger, some people are going to tick for their middle finger. Me personally, I kind of like goalposts, so my stressed and addled, try hard, pumped out of my mind brain can have a nice sweet couple of lanes, a little bit of a highway for me to land on. Kind of what that looks like, again, for me, is placing my hand, figuring out what the best part of the hold is for me, and remembering I got my index and I've got my little finger and I've just got that little guy right there. Most of the time, 99% of the time, these can just be some subtle little dots. They don't have to be this massive freaking thing. Now, some of the time, you're going to be aiming for a blind hold that's well around the corner, around some bulge, and you can't actually see the hold that you're going for. And that's kind of when you're going to see like the really long, streaky ones. Well, actually, honestly, you're gonna see it more than some of the time. You're gonna see it more often than is necessary. But I want to stress, great big long ticks are really special use, and just you chill out a little bit. You can be more conservative with them than you might think. But in this sort of situation, when you have a blind hold that's hiding around some big bulge, you have no idea where it is when you're on the go, especially when you're pumped, especially when you're at your limit. This is the purpose of a good tick mark. It makes your brain focus. It gives you some visual cues that are going to push you, they're going to guide you, and honestly, they're going to encourage you a little bit. So for these big blind throws, same sort of situation. You're going to get yourself into a position to where you see what it is that you're going for. Put a little chalk on that thing, just enough, clean, dry, don't need to go overboard. Find your particular point of preference that you're going to tick, whether it's your index, middle, or goalposts, or whatever it's going to be. And just, honestly, even a little bit of a dotted line can go a really long way, no pun intended. Now that thing is on there, when my head is hanging low and I'm trying really hard and nothing is working anymore, there's no blood left in my brain, it's all in my forearms, that's going to give me something to home in on and something to really go for, and again, something honestly to make you try a little harder for. Now, if you've traveled a little bit, you're going to have seen a whole lot of different kind of tick marks out there. It's actually kind of funny how many different ticks people will employ, not only on different kinds of stone, but in different countries that you go to. Some of them are outright laughable. Some of them are, 2 fingers wide and 2 feet long. Remember, it's a roadmap. Remember, it's just enough. It's not supposed to be a billboard. Just get enough, just enough for your brain to work, to fire, to keep moving smoothly, connect the dots. Now, most of the time when it comes to making a tick mark, you can just kind of root around in your bag, find yourself just a little chunk of chalk or something like that. Or I also like using the chalk discs a little bit. And you can break one in half or whatnot, but if you get the nice right angle on it, you'll be able to tick just enough with this little guy here. A quick little swift with your finger to even it out, tidy it up. Personally, I can be a little bit fastidious when it comes to my workspace, so I like my tick marks to be more akin to a calligraphy than big block letters with a crayon. Important thing to remember when you're ticking for a foothold is you don't want to tick right on top of the foothold. That's just going to take friction away. You're going to want to tick just above or just below the foothold, just so you can find the thing. Heck, I mean, you can put a tiny little one above and below. You can put one on four corners. It seems to be popular in some parts of Europe. We call it the sniper. It's funny to come across in the wild. Again, you want just enough, just like the hands, so you can find the thing, maneuver to it, get onto it, and get moving. Now, oftentimes with taller boulder problems, you're obviously not going to be able to reach up very high to tick. So, unless you have a ladder or you start stacking up pads or you throw a rope over the top, there's a pretty easy solution to the whole thing. Is you take your stick brush. Something I like to do is take some loose powdered chalk into my hand and just kind of press it in to the bristles like so. Get just enough on there so that you can get your brush with enough chalk up to where you want to go, and there's your marker. This technique is good with a stick brush. It's saved me I don't know how many times. Let's be honest, you're going to need this thing anyways. Now that brings us to the most important part. Now that you got these things up here, now that you've sessioned your boulder, maybe you sent, maybe maybe you got to come back to fight another day. Now that it's time to go, it's time to clean them up. You're going to want a very clean brush. To clean up your tick marks, you don't really need anything special. The old nylon bristle toothbrush is going to be fine. These boar hair brushes are everywhere nowadays. They're way more available than they used to be 5-10 years ago. One of these things is going to do just fine. Just make sure it's one that has the chalk out of it. It's that simple. It seems to be really hard for a lot of folks to do this for a number of different reasons, you know. Maybe you're caught up in the euphoria of having sent your monster life lister project. Maybe you have been defeated in battle and you're throwing your shoes into the woods and packing up angrily for your walk of shame back to the car. So you just leave the whole thing slathered in your own markings, like well, kind of like a dog in a fire hydrant. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this ever. One, be considerate for the climbers that are going to follow you. Keep it clean. It's super nice when you get to walk up to something like this. It's clean, it's ready to go, it's ready for you to session on. Two, not only climbers are out here in the woods. You come up and you find something that's just covered in tick marks when you're in the middle of your hike and you have no idea what they are. To them, it may as well be some kind of graffiti. I have definitely talked with all sorts of LCOs, local climbing organizations, and land managers who have said, you know, we get these complaints from folks just out walking their dog through the boulders or riding their bikes, and they will call in. They'll call into the city or the county or the park service and say, well, what is this stuff all over the boulders? The more egregious your actions are with leaving this stuff splattered all over the place, the more noticeable it's going to be, especially in high traffic areas like national parks or yeah, city parks and what have you. Some places, it's not just you and it's not just climbers that are out in these spaces. Just tidy up. Just keep your corner clean. It's just a good thing to do. Now, sometimes you're going to come across these really ground in recalcitrant ticks that they just don't want to come out. You know, you can scrub and scrub, and it's still just kind of a mess. Pretty simple solution. Just add a little bit of water, or in this case, I could just scoop in tiniest bit of snow, hit that thing like so. Good as new. Now, this is also a super good technique for cleaning up those boulders, those high traffic, really popular boulders that just absolutely get caked in chalk. You've seen it everywhere. Waco, Rocky Mountain National Park, Index, name it. People are all over these things, and maybe they don't get cleaned as often as they should. A little bit of soft bristle brush, a little bit of water goes a super, super long way. I am really fond of giving these things just a little watery swiff every now and again, because that's going to clean the rock down. It's going to get us back down to the good stuff. That's where all the friction is. That's what you want. Now, having said, this is actually a pretty important part to consider. Uh, it's probably not a good idea to brush, wash, scrub, water the holds on a super popular problem in a super popular area at noon o'clock on a Saturday. You can see why that is, right? There's going to be someone behind you in 5, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. Leave it till the end of the day when sun's about to set, parking lot's starting to empty out, it's getting quiet out there. That's probably the best time for you to go and do your little washing up period. Nobody wants to come up to the thing that they've been working for umpteen months and to show up middle of the day, excellent conditions, it's their day off, and they see you walking away with water dripping from every hold on their mega proj. Be thoughtful, be considerate. Honestly, that sums it up. It's all pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Get just enough chalk on there and in just the right places that it helps to get you up the boulder, get you where you need to go as fast and as clean and as accurate as can be. And then make sure you just clean up after yourself. Tidy up. Keep the thing looking good. Keep everybody happy. Now, I could go on and on for kind of a long time about how and when and why and where and what different methods to tick for all sorts of different things, from gear to foot placements to heel toe cams and what the, slopers and how deep the hold is. I've ticked my forearm to know how far to jump. These are the basics. These are the golden rules. Put just enough on there to get you up there. Clean up after yourself. Everybody's happy.